These are my December top picks. So they're a little unruly, but worth a read. Coming up. Keep reading. Hi, Terri Gillespie here, and welcome to December's top picks. So I am so excited about these books, and I can't wait to start with my lead book. Now, this is typically I try not to do debut authors because I don't know. I don't. Now, normally with the publishers that I work with, this one in particular, Tyndale, normally if somebody is a debut author, in order to get through some of these bigger publishers, like the top 3 publishers, you have to be pretty good. And I was not disappointed with Kristine Delano in The Lies We Trade. Now, what's really cool is I'm going to be interviewing her in January. She will be my first 2026 author that I interview. And I can't wait. So this is someone who's a little different and had to use my left brain a little bit more than what I normally do in a fiction. But let me tell you a little bit about Kristine. Kristine Delano is a former Wall Street executive turned award-winning author of domestic thrillers set in the high-stakes finance world. So she was an exec in Wall Street. So she knows. She really knows. She hosts the We Talk Careers podcast and mentors women on work-life balance. When she's not writing or reading, she enjoys scuba diving, playing games with friends, and chasing her family down the ski slopes of Maine. I mean, I totally do not run her circles at all. So it's pretty cool to be able to get to know her and to enjoy her new book. As I said, it's published by Tyndale. It doesn't come out until January 20th. So pre-order this. I'll tell you what, our family has a financial advisor, and I'm a trustee for my sister-in-laws. And so I am buying books, and hopefully Kristine will sign these, autograph these, but I'm going to send it to them, send them each one of these books. So I'm just jabbering. I'm just blubbering. So, okay. So here's a little bit about the story. Meredith Hansel should be having the best week of her life after establishing herself as a portfolio manager at a prestigious Wall Street firm. She's in the national spotlight for the innovative fund she created. But as Meredith prepares to celebrate, the plates she keeps spinning for years begin to crash. Her strained marriage reaches a breaking point. Her conscientious teenage daughter acts out under mysterious pressures. Someone vandalizes her home with disturbing graffiti, and Betsy, her most trusted ally at the firm, goes rogue, and Meredith is forced to sign a restraining order against her. Then her worlds collide when she receives a thumb drive and a cryptic note from Betsy threatening to reveal a secret that could have devastating effects on Meredith's family, unless she can figure out what Betsy wants and deliver it in time. As Meredith starts to dig into the data, however, she begins to suspect that it's no coincidence her life is crumbling. that maybe what's happening to her family is connected to what's boiling beneath the surface at her firm. Soon Meredith realized that there's only one way to avoid taking the fall, and it all hinges on Betsy's true motives. Was she really threatening Meredith or trying to warn her? Or both? Okay. All right, chapter 1. 1 week before. I always watch for the pivot. I sense it before I see it, and I notice it before the crowd. The unusual hire, the buried earnings report, the hitch in the speaker's voice that covers a lie. We each have our own unique superpower. It won't be until much later that I'll realize I've misplaced mine. Okay, so I will release the interview with Kristine the first Wednesday in January, so watch for it. Okay, next book, Angela Hunt. She's my mentor. I love Angie. She is dependable author, and she has like 2 PhDs in Bible study and Bible stuff. And she's really good. She's really good. And I used to be a beta reader for her for just 1 or 2 books. But she so does not need me at all to make sure that it's on authentic Jewish culture. So she doesn't need me. She surpassed me. So I was really excited about this new series called The Matriarchs. And this is the first book in the series, and it's the story of Sarah, rescued heart. And if you're not, for some reason, familiar with Angela Hunt, here is a little bit about her. Angela Hunt has published more than 165 books with sales nearing 6 million copies worldwide. She's the New York Times bestselling author of The Tale of 3 Trees, The Note, which was made into a movie, actually, and The Nativity Story. Angela's novels have won or been nominated for several prestigious industry awards such as the Rita Award, the Christie Award, the ECPA Christian Book Award, and the Holt Medallion Award. American Christian Fiction Writers and Romantic Times Book Club have presented her with Lifetime Achievement Awards. She holds THDs in Biblical Studies. Oh, well, Biblical Studies is different than Bible study. And Theology. Angela and her husband live in Florida along with their mastiffs and chickens. Okay, so Angela is so good because of her studies in her biblical studies and theology. She has come across some incredible resources, and she's able to weave those with the biblical text and just create this tapestry of beautiful character development. Yeah, you just put flesh and emotions and to these biblical people. It's just not just characters, but they're people. And for some of us, they're ancestors. So she's so good at doing that. Okay, here's a little bit about this book. In Ur of the Chaldeans, Ishka faces the daunting prospect of marrying Abram, a man she has never met and who renames her Sarai on their wedding day. Their union, arranged since childhood, tests her as she grapples with uncertainty about her future and Abram's character, including his devotion to an unseen God, entirely unlike the idols she has worshipped all her life. When Abram reveals that Adonai has directed him to leave the family, and Adonai is Hebrew for essentially the Lord, Sarai chooses to trust him and follow his God, even though she is not sure Adonai can make them a great nation. As the years pass without conceiving a child, Sarai wrestles with doubt and faith within her marriage. Her skepticism that their descendants will outnumber the stars grows with time. It will take nothing short of a miracle to prove Adonai's faithfulness to his promise. I gotta tell you, it took an Angela Hunt to be able to bring in the Hebrew words for God. Now, if you use Jehovah, that's fine. That's fine. But there are no J's in the Hebrew language, so or Aramaic. So for her to use Adonai, which is unfamiliar to most people, is so powerful. It's so great. And since then, other authors have begun to use some of the original Hebrew names for God. So kind of cool. Okay. All right. So chapter 1, and this is in Ish, what is her name? Ishka. This is in Ishka's point of view. I stood in my grandfather's chamber and waited, my faith minuscule and my confidence non-existent. My empty stomach twisted as Milka's hands tightened on mine. May you be a mother to millions, she whispered, her eyes bright. Soon we will both be married women. Wouldn't that have been interesting to find out how she was feeling as she was preparing to marry Abram? I mean, arranged marriages back then. Yes. Okay. This is one of my go-to authors for romantic suspense and thrillers, and this is Dark Design by Nancy Mehl. Now, this is book 2 in the Erin Delaney mystery series, and I actually reviewed in a previous episode. I reviewed the first book in the series, and I gotta say, I love this story even better than the first book. So let me tell you a little bit about Nancy. Nancy is the author of more than 50 books, a Parable and ECPA bestseller, and the winner of an ACFW Book of the Year Award, a Carol Award, and the Daphne du Maurier Award. She has also been a finalist for the Christie Award. Nancy writes from her home in Missouri, where she lives with her husband. So I always like Missouri authors because a lot of times they'll include landmarks where I grew up, which I grew up in Missouri as well, St. Louis County. And then my husband went to school in Rolla, so we lived there for a while as well. So now this book is actually set in, I think, Tennessee and Virginia. So not much of my Missouri landmarks that I like. But anyway, doesn't take away from this incredible book. So here's a little bit about Dark Design. When Erin Delaney learns that a serial killer has mimicked the murder portrayed in her best-selling novel, she joins her friend Kaylee Quinn Hunter, a former FBI profiler in Virginia. Their reunion, only a few months after fending off an eerie killer in the woods of Tennessee, is bittersweet. as Kaylee has been asked by the FBI to recruit Erin's help to identify a suspect. Now, that was the first book was the eerie killings in Tennessee. The FBI team is stumped by the murderer who recreates killings from the books of multiple authors with only ominous notes left behind. As Erin is drawn further into the web of fear and chaos, Kaylee begins to fear for Erin's safety. On top of tracking down a murderer, Erin must shoulder the weight of a haunted past and claims that she stole the plot from her novel from one of her sources. As she struggles on multiple fronts, the enemy looms closer than ever, and Erin's life hangs in the balance. Okay. Chapter 1. Now this is in the point of view of the serial killer. I was only 9 years old when I knew I was destined to be a serial killer. My best friend and I watched a show on TV that talked about them. I'd never felt more excited about anything in my entire life. When I was 10, I almost changed my mind. I went to my friend's church and the pastor talked about Jesus. I wondered if there was another way for me to go. But when the pastor told me that Jesus wanted us to love everyone, I knew I could never live that way. Hate filled my heart and mind so strongly that there wasn't room for anything else. The only thing I truly loved was my hate, and I had no desire to let it go. Not even my parents could steer me away from the path I knew was mine. Now that I'm older, I'm ready to fulfill my destiny. I know just where to start at the beginning. Woo! Okay. So, why is this not a book? Well, it kind of is. It's a bound manuscript. And it is of Irene Hannon. Irene Hannon, and it's from her Undaunted Courage series. It's actually the last book of the series, Out of Time. Now, I got this because they ran out of advanced readers' copies. So usually, Revell, I think this is Revell, usually when Revell runs out of ARCs, they'll either send me a link to read it online or they'll send a bound manuscript. And then they'll send me the actual book before I air my episodes. So didn't work out this time for a couple of the books. So I guess there are more and more people that are reviewing, or the publisher has less money to give out advanced readers copies. So anyway, doesn't matter because this is still an effective way for me to get to read the story. So anyway, I love Irene Hannon, and she is a very unique author because she writes both mystery and suspense, and she also writes just these really quaint, sweet romance stories as well. So if you're not familiar with Irene, here's a little bit about her. Irene is the best-selling award-winning author of more than 65 contemporary romance and romantic suspense novels. She is a 3-time winner of the Rita Award, the Oscar of Romance Fiction, from Romance Writers of America, and is a member of that organization's elite Hall of Fame. Her many awards include National Reader's Choice, Daphne du Maurier, Retailer's Choice, Bookseller's Best, Carol, and Reviewer's Choice from Romantic Times Book Reviews magazine, which also honored her with a Career Achievement Award for her entire body of work. In addition, she is the Hope Medallion winner and a two-time Christie Award finalist. Now, she also lives in Missouri. And in this particular book, she'll write about St. Louis, with St. Louis in her mystery suspense. But this particular one was in southwest Missouri in Cape Girardeau. No, southeast Missouri, because the protagonist is a professor at SEMO, Southeast Missouri State. So anyway, it's kind of cool because my husband has family in Cape Girardeau. So here's a little bit about the book. For historical anthropologist Kara Tucker, the chance to spend a sabbatical semester on the remote country estate with full access to its vast library and centuries-old journals is a dream come true, until a series of strange incidents begin to turn her dream into a nightmare. Someone, it seems, does not want anyone diving into the past and unearthing old ghosts. Sheriff Brad Adams has seen his share of suspicious activities during his law enforcement career, but what's happening at the isolated estate is out of pattern in his quiet rural Missouri county. Beset by danger, Kara and Brad work together to try to untangle the clues, but when the peril turns lethal, the situation takes on a new urgency, and their mission to find out who is behind the string of menacing incidents before the perpetrator strikes another deadly blow. Okay, Chapter 1. Her dream sabbatical was not off to an auspicious start. Easing back on the gas pedal, Kara Tucker frowned at the flashing lights in the distance as she rounded a bend in the two-lane rural Missouri road. I gotta tell you, I love rural Missouri roads. My dad taught me how to drive on them. So the key is not to use your brakes. Okay, so I got another bound manuscript. So this one is published by Bethany House. I wrinkled that. And it's Tessa Afshar, The Royal Artisan. And this is another book in the Queen Esther's Court series. Now, I interviewed Tessa. She is so much fun. She's a sweetie pie. And she's an American, Persian American, and a Bible scholar as well. So I love her books. I love her books for her authenticity, and I love her books because she carries insight into the Persian Empire, as well as Israel. And so anyway, it's really cool. And I want to take special note of the pot or the vessel there that's blue. It's just a beautiful color, and that's really important in this story. Now, if you're not familiar with Tessa, here's a little bit about her. Okay, Tessa Afshar's biblical fiction has been on Publisher Weekly's CBA and ECPA bestseller lists and has been translated into 12 languages. Tessa's books have received Christie, INSPE, and ECPA Christian Book of the Year awards and are Carol Christie and ECPA Christian Book Award finalists. Born in the Middle East, Tessa spent her teen years in England and later moved to the United States. Her conversion to Christianity in her 20s changed the course of her life. Tessa is a devoted wife, a mediocre gardener, and an enthusiastic cook of biblical recipes. Yeah, her previous book was about a cook for Queen Esther's court, and it was pretty cool. Some of the dishes were, oh my gosh, my mouth was watering as I was reading. Now, in this particular book, the character is a potter and like an artist. So it's really cool. Here's a little bit about it. Susanna of Persia creates exquisite pottery that graces Susa's finest tables, but her master, Lord Haman, boo, I wish I had my grogger, boo, does not know her secret. Susanna is one of the Jews he despises. When Haman discovers her true identity, he forces her into indentured servitude. After Haman is sentenced to death and Queen Esther becomes a new master of the pottery workshop, Susanna believes her troubles are over, but Haman's sons grow enraged at the loss of their inheritance, prompting the queen to assign one of her men to protect the workshop. Susanna is shocked to discover that the queen's agent is none other than the man who broke their betrothal years ago. When tragedy strikes, Susanna and Jaden must set aside past heartache to join forces and find the ancient artifact that will help Esther protect their people. Can they unearth the secrets that will allow them to thwart impending tragedy? Okay. So I love when they have maps that let you know where the story takes place. It's especially important for the diaspora of Israel, where they ended up when they were God kicked them out of Israel. Now, one of the really cool things that Tessa does is she actually kind of intermingles, kind of integrates Esther's scroll or Esther's journal that she talks about how things were with her life. So it's kind of cool. So it starts with, from the secret scrolls of Esther. And the young woman pleased him and won his favor. And that's taken from Esther chapter 2, verse 9. The 25th year of King Artaxerxes' rule. Let me tell you a secret. Being queen will not fill the empty places in your heart. I arrived at the Persian court on trembling legs, a stranger to its rigid protocols and sharp-edged rules. All the priceless jewels and alluring garments in the world could not chase away the chill of loneliness that plagued me those early days. Can you imagine? If you don't know the story of Esther, I strongly encourage you to read the book of Esther in the Bible. It's not very long, but it's a wonderful story of God's intervention in history. And what's really interesting is God's name is never used in the whole book, but his presence is very clearly there. So Tessa and I think talk about that in her interview. So that's it for the month of December. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to have in the next couple days a review of my favorite books in 2025. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, God bless and keep reading, and Happy New Year.